Good afternoon, September 3rd, Mike McCulley here at the Cariboo Fire Center. I'm joined by Ryan Chapman, who's the Area Commander for the Plateau Complex. Thanks for joining us today, Ryan.
No problem.
Just like to talk to you a little bit today, Ryan, about sort of how you became engaged with wildfire and some of the challenges with this job. So how did you get involved with the BC Wildfire Service?
So I started like a lot of people in our program. It was a summer job while I was at university. Got on a unit crew in 2001 in Burns Lake and loved every minute of it. Didn't know at the time that it was going to become my career, but was hooked pretty much instantly. And here I am today.
Yeah, I hear that from so many of the crews. You know, it gets in your blood and you really love and enjoy it. Maybe talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you face in a day as the incident commander here. I know you've got a large scope of responsibility, over 700 people underneath you as reports. So can you talk to us a little about that?
You know, I think the biggest challenge is really the scale of what we're dealing with this summer. Yes, there's, you know, about 700 people. It fluctuates day to day as resources come and go, but it's a massive organization and it's a huge amount of area, as you can see on the map there. And I think that's probably the biggest challenge is just keeping that perspective of, and you know, we have a big organization under me. Those 700 people, there's many layers, there's good leadership at all levels in the organization. So it sounds like a big number, but it's the system's working. I think in addition to just the size of it all is keeping it at the forefront of our mindset of the impacts that this fire and other fires are having on the people that live immediately around them, and even in further areas, whether it be smoke, people that are coming up on 2 months being out of their home. So that's on our minds when we're dealing with fires like this.
Right. I know that obviously this is a disaster for the Cariboo and for the province, frankly. We've seen extremely dry conditions. Can you maybe explain a little bit about what the fuel type is like in a drought like this and some of the fire activity that we see compared to, you know, a normal season or something with a little more precipitation, a little less heat?
Yeah, there's no doubt we're in a prolonged drought. This is the biggest fire that we've ever had on record in BC, and that's because of the weather that we've been dealt with not just the last 2 months that this fire's almost been burning for, but the lead up to it, and that created the conditions when we had the dry lightning in early July that started this whole series of events. I think it's really the prolonged nature of it. We've had multiple days over the last 2 months where we've seen on their own in isolation would be some of the most significant fire growths in sort of those 12-hour burning periods that we've ever seen. And we've had multiple events like that. This used to be a whole bunch of separate fires, as you know, and the fact that they all grew together was an event long after that initial day. I don't have the exact dates at my fingertips, but yeah, really unprecedented conditions in isolation, and we've been dealing with it for almost 2 months now.
So I often get asked myself, what's it like to be away from home so often? I know you're not from the Cariboo. You're from up the mid-coast, a little bit from Smithers, I believe.
Yeah.
What's it like to be away from home so often and be here for a long time focused on this job, Ryan?
I'm lucky. My family does understand that this is part of the deal, and as challenging as it is when, like I alluded to already, when the fire impacts this many people this severely, it's tough, but I do love my job, and I love the fact that it's sad and it's a bit of a somber situation, but I'm here, the rest of the team's here to do our best to minimize those impacts. So, and my family appreciates that as well. It's not easy being away. I've got a 5-year-old at home and a 6-month-old. So yeah, I'll be excited to get back. I did do a 3-week stint looking after the Northwest Fire Center at my home in Smithers this summer. So I was lucky to, as busy as we've been as a program, I've got to spend a chunk of that time at home as well. So certainly. I haven't been away as much as some people, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it certainly is part of the job, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, every day I've talked to commanders like yourself and other ranks in the fire crews. They always tell me that there's quite a feeling of reward and leadership when they see their crews coming home at night and achieving their objectives. How do you feel about those kind of things, Ryan?
You know, I do really try to relate to my time. Like I mentioned, I started on the Burns Lake unit crew in 2001. Spent a big chunk of my career, I think, on unit crews for over 10 years. And, you know, it's seeing the crews coming and going from camp, coming back from their days off. That's where I see, those are the folks that are out there in the field. And if there's any reward at my level, it's the assurance that we've coordinated those resources properly, that we've created an environment where they're safe and they're able to make good decisions that result in them working safely. I'm not in the field as much in this role, and so yeah, my reward comes mostly from seeing the crews come and go safely every day, and knowing that I'm part of creating that overall structure and environment for them. You know, and part of that is missing the old days of being on one of those crews, where I think that reward is more immediate, and you're a lot more connected to the actual work getting done. So yeah, have a lot of admiration for the people in those positions, and my reward is mostly seeing them be successful.
Well, I know you keyed in earlier on the notion of community and the fact that we're all here to protect life and property of British Columbians, and we all believe in that. So I guess on behalf of the residents here in the Cariboo, we'd like to say thank you to you for your help and leadership. Ryan Chapman here at the Cariboo Fire Center. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Mike.